Hey everyone, it's Mr. E, your favorite Sloptider here, today with some more slop content. Not really super slop, I'm just going over a quick couple of things. One is the Havoc endgame mode gameplay trailer, just going to point out a couple of things that you might not have noticed there, just so we can have a heads up on what's going to happen on day one. And the second is I'm going to give you my best guesses, because I've been getting a few comments about the Ogryn talent tree rearrangement. I'm going to give you my best guesses as to what that actually means to try and interpret Fat Shark's language. The first thing I want to point out is this is Commissar Duquesne. I think she looks really cool. She also has this magical ability, which is that she can take the scar that's on one side of her face and she can move it to the other side of her face at will, which is really awesome. You can see here that she has a left eye scar and now she has a right eye scar, so that's pretty neat. And she actually changes it back at the end of the video. We also get to see in this video a couple of very interesting things. The first of which is that we've got the all four of them, what they're calling mutators, have been revealed to us. I don't think any of these are particularly all that interesting. We'll have to see if maybe they stack with some other stuff and get more interesting, and they've got more coming for us in the future, so no need to be too dismayed. But there's also this, which is that stacking debuff they promised us that grows with the amount of Havoc levels you have. The Emperor's Fading Light 1, so we have to assume this grows to 2, 3, 4, etc. This says that auric intensity has been activated, enemies shoot faster, and no toughness grace period. And toughness grace period is something a lot of players don't realize they have, which is when your toughness is broken, you get 1 full second, or maybe it's 0.75 seconds, where you take 90% reduced damage. And this can prevent you from things like, oh, you've got a gunner who's murderizing you and it shreds your toughness. Well, then it breaks your toughness, and you need to have a second to realize that, like, oh my god, I'm being destroyed. I need to, like, ult or dodge or something. Without that, you need to be paying a lot more attention, because what can happen is you'll get your toughness broken and you'll just instantly get your health shredded on the back of that. It doesn't give you that like second of breathing room. So this is just going to encourage more players playing the meta builds that can regenerate their toughness and keep their toughness topped all the time. So Shout Veteran, still going to be very in the meta. I guess kind of unfortunately. Then we're going to look at the 4 different what they're calling mutators. The first one is Blight Spreads. Guy pops, leaves this green little puddle on the ground. Have to assume that it leaves corruption on your health bar if you stand in it. Kind of cordons off areas, so that'll be interesting to play around. Mobian 21st, we've already seen this one, just tankier horde enemies. Then we've got Pus Hardened Skin, and we've also got right here, this is the Relic Blade, the Zealot Relic Blade, but it's not powered up. I think just intentionally to show that these enemies have more armor than usual and aren't dying to the hit. I don't love these enemies have more armor, because what that means is we're going to see more proliferation of weapons that ignore armor. And I'm sure you can think of the weapon that I'm thinking of that is the absolute god tier armor murderizer that exists in the meta right now. We're going to see a million more of them getting into Havoc mode. Then we've got the Cranial Corruption. This is very similar to the thing we saw before, but it does say that they're infected with a head parasite. I think something comes out of their head, just based on one. It's got a different text than we had before, and it says something about a parasite being in there. And I think it would be cool if these things were like, you know how in StarCraft 2 when you destroy a Zerg building, it explodes and the broodlings come out? Like, they're short-lived and they attach to you or they attack you. But they also do this thing where when this thing explodes, like this, yeah, we can see the explosion happens, and we already saw that in the Burgle event, but then they cut away really quick, so you can't see anything after that fact, which makes me think they're hiding, you know, that these things come and attack you. Then we've got the armor sets here. I don't really love these armor sets. I think the veteran one looks pretty slick, and I don't like I don't like these chest plates on the Zealot. I know that they serve a fucking military purpose of deflecting bullets, but no thanks. I've already got my armor, and the Ogryn doesn't look. He has sloped shoulders. He looks kind of beta in this. But then the Psyker, looking Omega Chad right here with the he can't even fucking see helmet. He's got the cool chest plate. This looks cool. This looks like something out of, like, you know, Star Wars or like Starship Troopers. And yeah, and then we showcase a little bit of gameplay with some of the content creators. There's the Relic Blade again, nice overhead attack. Doesn't kill that Mauler in one hit, which is concerning, because, you know, the Dueling Sword would have killed them in one hit, even without an activation. So it might end up being a B tier weapon. And then they actually showcase that there is, you know, additional modifiers that are interesting, such as the level bosses, like the bosses on assassination missions, will just join in and try to fuck you up, which I think is nice. And the actual normal game could use that bit of diversity, I think, too. And then, yeah, and then Commissar Duquesne's face again with her scar swap back to the other side. Okay, so that's everything for that. And then let's just quickly glance at what I'm talking about for the Ogryn. The Ogryn is getting a talent tree layout change. So a few layout changes. So what this means to me is between 2 and 3 layout changes, and I already have them in mind, and I'm going to show them to you right now. So these are the 3 changes I think that might and probably will be made. One, oh my fucking god, this thing is staring at me. One, right up here, you cannot choose whichever blitz you want, and then have these 2 abilities be tied to them, because right now the problem is that slam is like a D or C tier ability, and soften them up is an S tier ability. So people are going this way because they've learned that soften them up is so good, and that means that you can't take rock. You can see that you can't get there with rock, and you can't also take both, which I think is silly. You know, there's a lot of trees that can preclude you from going different paths and taking both, but the Ogryn has so few node choices already up here because his mainly are locked in these huge columns at the bottom. You know, he only has like you can choose all of these, but you can only choose some of these, and let me show you how that works. You can only choose one or the other of these because you can't go back uphill when you choose this unless you choose bombs away. So they're probably going to break this so that you can choose any or like both or one or the other, and then get to all 3 abilities. And then they'll probably change this line right here, this V-shaped line, to be a flat line, and that is because right now, if you choose Point Blank Barrage, you can come here, and you can go down into this tree and go down and get Coward Culling, and you can go down here and go down and stay close, but you cannot go back up and get down to Bonebreaker's aura or get, more importantly, you know, Batter, a really good skill. So they probably want to fix that so that you can get any one of these auras if you really want, because this is really limiting, especially Batter not being available to all the classes, because that's kind of a mainstay in Ogryn damage right now. And the last thing that I would imagine they might want to do is take this connective line right here and shift it down, or put another one like right here. Because right now, well, that might be too close, but right now what you have to invest if you're an Ogryn and you get to this part is you need to invest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points to get your keystone, which is a really deep dive in one path to get to just the keystone for that path. And it leads to pretty much like less diversification of builds because you have less points to spend elsewhere in the tree. If these paths were shorter or had more crossovers, I could go down this side and then cross here and then grab that, right? So if I wanted to get stuck in Bruiser, and that would save me points by not having to go, I mean, these are good skills too, but to show you what I mean in examples, let me show you, oops, the build editor. If you look at Zealot, when he gets down here, he has this crossbar right here, and then it only takes 1, 2, 3, 4 points to get his keystone. So he actually has more points to spend elsewhere because he's not devoting so many just to like taking all of these skills all the way down. So I think they want to strive to eliminate these really long channels where you have to take all the skills in one row in order to get to the bottom, because it makes the choices less interesting. All right, guys, well, that's everything I had for you today. Sorry about just the 2 slop videos today, but I'll try to have a new build video out day of the patch and get more interesting and in-depth with the game. But I've just been a shit poster lately. All right, thanks for watching. Very much for watching. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. See you guys next time. Bye.